Well, hello, everyone. I am Matt Williamson at Williamson NFL. Give me a follow. Give me a shout out there. Been busier on Twitter lately. And a couple things. Senior Bowl practices are underway. I'm recording this on Tuesday. Going to be digging into that heavy. As mentioned, the Steelers have quite the history. As mentioned yesterday, the Steelers have quite the history of plucking players out of the Senior Bowl. Every season Tomlin's been here, they have drafted a Senior Bowl participant, and their top 4 picks last year were all Senior Bowl guys. So I was supposed to go down. A personal issue came up, which is why I'm not going to record anything tomorrow, just so you're having an idea why nothing comes across your feed a day from now. But then I'll be back at it. But that's why I'm not in Mobile. I got stuff I have to do all day Wednesday, so there won't be any recording that day. And today's show is a little disheartening, to say the least. It's probably going to be a 2-parter, and we're also got a mailbag on the horizon. As mentioned, I'm going to really look into these Mobile dudes from the Senior Bowl. There'll be a lot of good fits from what I've seen already initially that fit the Steelers' needs. But I'm doing a deep dive on the offense. Next week, we'll probably do one on the defense. And when I did this, it was worse than I thought, to be honest with you. I mean, everyone on the planet knows, and everyone listening knows that the losing streak to end the season was brutal. I mean, obviously, we can explain it away or whatever. They're not a big dog. It was bad. But I thought the offense before that point, which is 11 17ths of the season, 12 17ths, stick to, writing and talking, not math, Matt. But, were decent offensively, at least middle of the road. But when I really dug into the numbers, and this will be a very statistics-driven, with comments-driven podcast, it's pretty brutal, man. I mean, they generated 5 yards per play. These are all regular season only, start-to-finish stats. Okay, 5 yards a play doesn't sound bad, to the naked eye. Snap the ball, you get 5 yards. Snap the ball, you get 5 yards. Well, that's not really how it works. You get 50 on one and then 1, 2, whatever. But only 5 offenses were worse. It's pretty bad. I mean, you shouldn't be that low. I can understand 10 were worse, but only 5? I mean, there's some dismal offenses in the league. Browns, blah. I mean, that was 4.9 yards per play at home, 5.2 on the road. Not that that's a huge distinguishing factor. But here's the problem. They produced a league low 4.5 yards per play on first downs. This is something we've been talking about all year, but now the final numbers are in and all that kind of stuff. You're the worst offense in the league on first downs. That's sometimes or often when it's the easiest. It's 1st and 10. You get to dictate your personnel. You get to dictate a great amount of what the defense puts out there. I could force them into nickel or dime if I wanted to, etc. You don't get as much diverse and sane blitz packages, 1st and 10, Can't be league worse than that category like that. Brutal. Yards per game was 23rd. That kind of adds up. 317.2. Okay, of course you want it to be better, but still. This is kind of a misleading one, but they averaged 14.5 yards per point. It's not a stat that I put a lot of credence in, to be very honest with you, but I threw it in here just because I found it sort of interesting. That's 13th best in the league. So what that basically means is take all your yardage for the season, divide it by all your points, and see how many yards it takes you on average to gain a point. I'm not sure how much value's in that again, but it was 13th best. I mean, at least it wasn't worse than the league like the first down offense. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college hoops, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today to get on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. This isn't surprising, but it is an outlier. Only 3 offenses threw the ball at a lower percentage than the Steelers. Now, they were good ones. Eagles, Packers, Ravens, And the Steelers' rush attempts, they ran the ball 533 times for the year, was only behind the Eagles. Eagles ran at 621. The Ravens, 554. And the Lions. Lions ran it one more time than the Steelers. But the difference with those 3 teams is how many of those runs, and yes, they're all very run-heavy teams, especially the Eagles and Ravens. And we know that's a means to their success. But how many of those rush attempts for those 3 teams, possibly the 3 best teams in the league this past year, give or take, Eagles, Ravens, Lions, were in the fourth quarter running out games? And how many do you think the Steelers were? Actually, probably more than you think. When you think about the course of the season, let's not forget early in the year, beating up on not all bad teams, but not as strong a teams. And they would crush you at the end by running games out too. So I'm not lumping the Steelers with them, but a lot of this also did come with a lead. So again, final 4 weeks of the season, they scored 57 points. Over their final 8 regular season points, or over the final last 8 games, they only reached 20 points twice. It's real easy to stick during the losing streak. But over the final 8 regular season games, that's basically half the season, you only reach 20 points twice. Ugh. This is a big one I like, is Steelers offense converted a set of downs into a new set of downs or a touchdown 68% of the time. League average is 71, and only 8 offenses convert at a lower rate. So much of this to me comes back to being bad on first downs. It turned into another set of downs. And again, only 8 or lower. Along those lines, only 29% of the Steelers' offensive plays resulted in a first down or a touchdown. Okay. How many plays actually got you the first down or a touchdown? Just 29%. Only 5 offenses were lower. Ugh. Passing yards per game, they're at 192. That's above only 5 offenses. There were games there where Wilson was slinging it around too. But when it's all said and done over a 17-game schedule, only 5 offenses produced fewer passing yards per game. As you know, and this is terrible too, the offense has now gone 19 straight regular season opening drives without scoring a touchdown. So it's the entire season and going back to last year. Didn't score a touchdown on the opening drive in any of them. Rough, man. Now, this isn't bad, but this is just their style of play. They only used 11 personnel, 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 receivers, folks. 50% of their snaps. Only 7 offenses used it less. And 15% of 13 personnel was the highest in the league. That's a big number of being out there in 13. I have no problem with that. I didn't think that they consistently had their best players on the sidelines. I didn't think they were exactly loaded with skill position talent anyways. They did only throw 6 interceptions, though, the entire year. Only the Chargers, 3, and the Ravens, 4, were fewer. So that's something. These are, they did value the football, and that paid off in some ways. So those are the general things. When we get back into this, when I'm take a day off here, I'll get into a lot of the player-specific stuff. And it's not much better, don't get me wrong. But really doing this exercise was alarming to me. never did I mean, there were down times, and yes, there's a recency bias of what happened at the end of the season. But I never thought, man, this is a bottom 5 offense. You know, I spent a ton of time watching the other 31 teams, and there are terrible offenses out there. But everything I just said to you kind of implies maybe not bottom 5, but easily bottom 10. Not so great. Not so great. All right, everyone. Take care. I will get back to you in a day or so.